Hello everyone and welcome once again to my channel. It's your boy Luis Portelles. I feel like it's been forever since we sat down and just had a good old conversation about Miss Universe. And believe me, there is so much to talk about because ever since the last edition of Miss Universe and the crowning of our bunny Gabriel, I feel like the organization has been pretty much all over the place. I also know that the fans share the same feelings because there have been just so many things happening in terms of changes with the organization, with the national directors, with the way that the organization functions and its values, and now the latest thing, the way that the organization perceives other pageants. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about all of those things, and I'll share with you my honest opinion on whether or not I think that this might be the downfall of the Miss Universe organization as we know it. And I will also tell you if I think that Anne has a positive impact as far as Miss Universe is concerned. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, be part of the conversation in the comment section down below. I will see you right after the intro.
Be strong.
For those of you who follow my channel regularly, I put out a video a few weeks ago where I was just talking about some of the initial changes that were happening with the Miss Universe organization. And back then, of course, I was referencing that beating war that was happening when it comes to the Miss Universe franchises as well as the national directors. Well, here is a little update about that entire mess because ever since that video was published, we were talking about Indonesia, of course, losing the franchise for the country. However, other countries have been added to the list. We also mentioned Malaysia at that point, as well as Vietnam. And I'm going to say out of these three countries, Vietnam and Indonesia are my biggest surprises. Indonesia because they had some of the longest relationships with the Miss Universe organization from like all of the national directors, but at the same time, one of the most cordial relationships. Indonesia is the country that regularly invites the Miss Universe winner to Indonesia every single year. So for Miss Universe to drop Putri Indonesia so suddenly, definitely didn't sit well with my soul. Now, let's talk about Vietnam. We all know that Vietnam, we always refer to it as the racing powerhouse in pageantry because of just how exciting pageantry is in Vietnam. It's so vibrant, the level of production, the level of quality, even when it comes to designers and the caliber of girls, is just out of this world. I could have never predicted the Miss Universe Vietnam organization losing its franchise, and honestly it makes me question the purpose of this entire thing. But you guys were right. When I posted that video last time, a lot of you actually said that this was going to be particularly difficult for smaller countries. And that's exactly what we have been seeing so far. Some countries, just to name a few, the government of Cayman Islands, as well as Belize and Mauritius, have all dropped the Miss Universe organization franchise because they're just not able to afford, first of all, this type of huge fees that very often they don't recover because we tend to forget that pageantry is not profitable everywhere in the world, but simultaneously because the way that the Miss Universe organization is making business right now very often doesn't align with the values of this local organization. So that already says a lot about the current state of the Miss Universe organization and what the future might look like for it. Now, I will stop there for a moment and I will just address the entire intention behind Anne's approach, which I do understand this is a business approach. She is trying to make money. The woman just invested $20 million into this entire organization, but she is trying to recover the money as soon as possible, as in next year she wants her 20 million back at her bank. And honestly, I think that this is too aggressive, especially for something like pageantry that is not meant to be a business per se. Of course, pageantry has business intentions, and these organizations, to survive and continue growing, they do have to excel when it comes to the business aspect. But having such an aggressive approach is only going to kill the little bit of a community that we have as of right now. At a certain point, Anne explained that her intention with this was just to see how much potential there was when it comes to increasing the fees of the organizations and how much the national directors were willing to pay for the franchise, which ultimately would allow her to have a better understanding of the real value of the international licensing fees. Now let's move on to the next point. This one is also a little bit worrying. And of course, I also did mention during that first video the reorganization of Miss Universe. So for those of you who follow Anne on social media, more precisely on Facebook, this is the only platform where I was able to find this announcement. In a very subtle way, Anne announced that she was adding new members to the teams, both in New York and in Thailand for Miss Universe. These people will occupy key roles within the organization, and of course that is going to affect the way that the entire machine works. But I know what you're wondering. What is going to happen with the ones that are already there? And of course, I'm thinking more precisely about Emmy and about Paula Sugar. So Emmy was recently added to the Miss Universe team anyway, so I think that her presence has not been consolidated just yet within the organization enough as to, grant that she will have a long-lasting future within the organization. But someone as Paula Sugar, who has been with Miss Universe for decades at this point, and a lot of people, even before Anne bought the entire organization, a lot of people were already starting to question Paula's place within the entire thing, saying that, sometimes some change is good. This might not be like a negative thing, maybe it's her time, she'll... You get what I'm saying, right? Because of course, Anne has a completely different perspective. The values are not the same, the approach is not the same, the message is not the same. And I personally believe that this is creating a tension between both parties internally. Now, a clear example of this was when Paula Sugar herself sent an email to the Putri Indonesia organization to kind of apologize for the way that things were handled internally by Miss Universe. Now, we also had Anne who came out with a statement saying that this is not how she's handling things and that they had like a pre-notice and And then on the other hand, you have someone who is, very, very close to Anne saying, we truly apologize. This is not how we want to handle things. We are really grateful for everything that you did for us over the years, and I can never forget that. So I'm really sorry that they're treating you that way. For me, what this means is that Paula does not agree with the way that everything is being handled right now by Anne and the rest of the staff at Miss Universe. So I don't know, maybe I want to hear your opinion about that one, but I think that in the future, we might see the likes of Paula Sugar and Emmy stepping down from the roles, or maybe just transitioning to a different role. I would like to see Paula maybe take care of Miss USA, or still have an active role within the organization, especially after she has done so much for Miss Universe. You let me know in the comment section. Now let's talk about the Asian tour of Miss Universe. So as you guys know, ever since Arboni Gabriel was crowned as Miss Universe, she has been to different countries in Asia. If I'm not mistaken, she went to Indonesia, she went to Malaysia, she went to Vietnam. Of course, she's going to Thailand, and I believe that she might come to the Philippines. It hasn't been confirmed. But anyways, she is traveling a lot, and I must add, a lot of these travels are involving the new license holders and the new franchises that have been signed. Now, this is not the real issue here. Normally at Miss Universe, traveling around the world is never an issue. That's actually a very positive thing. Now, the thing is that a lot of fans have noticed that Anne is always omnipresent, as in always within the shot, within the video, in the background, and more often than the background, she is at the forefront. I'm not going to lie, as a pageant fan myself, I do find this to be a little bit problematic because as of right now, in the current moment, when I think of Miss Universe, I think of Anne. That's the image that comes to, whenever there is like a press conference or they're announcing some projects, they're announcing some charity, some event, it is always Anne speaking, and then she has Arboni and the other girls in the background kind of supporting. I personally don't think that this is the mission of a Miss Universe. I don't think that this is the role of a Miss Universe. So let me know in the comment section if you also have a problem with Anne having such a hands-on approach with the Miss Universe organization. Of course, I understand. It's her organization. She paid $20 million for it. She wants to work actively on it. I get it. But girl, aren't you like a billionaire? Don't you have like a bunch of businesses to take care of? Like a whole network, television, When are we gonna get a little break from Miss Universe? Go take care of your other businesses and let Arboni do the talking for Miss Universe. I mean, she was crowned for a reason. And I mean that with absolutely no hate at all towards Anne. But sometimes, there must be a time and place for you to be there, for you to be present and visible. And there must also be a time for the girls. I kind of feel sorry for Arboni because she is not only competing for attention right now with Anne, but also with the other girls. I mean, we have Miss Dominican Republic that is traveling with them. We have Miss Curacao that is also doing the Asian tour with the girls. And of course, Venezuela wasn't able to join because she had other commitments. But can you imagine at this point, it's like the competition is not over. Arbony is officially the winner, the title holder, but she is still fighting for a place, for some time, for some visibility, because she is sharing the spotlight with so many different people at the same time. So let me know, how do you feel about that? But hold on, that's not all. Talking about Asian tour and travel, recently Anne announced that the Miss Universe organization will now have its very own private jet. What does that mean? The Miss Universe winner and the runner-ups, the ladies that made the top 5, get to travel around the world whenever they want. They can go to any country in the world, and yeah, they have their own plane, so they don't depend on any airlines whatsoever, sponsors. They just have to jump on the plane and go anywhere in the world. Now, let's look at the bright side, because I believe in, looking at both sides of things. On the bright side of things, this means that the winner of Miss Universe can be anywhere she wants, anytime she wants. Now, in terms of traveling, commitment, events, just being present and being relevant, especially in the world that we live in, where being visible and being there is so important, this is major. It's not the first time that Miss Universe has a private jet, but it's also something that current international pageants don't have. So I think that this is definitely something that they can brag about. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to having an entire private jet, can we talk about the sustainability part of this? Because we are having like sustainable sashes, and we're having like all of these messages and advocacies about the environment and climate change and all of that. But at the same time, we have the Miss Universe winner and runner-ups and the owner traveling in private jets around the world because they don't want to wait a little longer to travel with the commercial airline. Like, those are the things that for me honestly make absolute no sense. And once again, I do understand the benefits of having a private jet, but at the same time, it really doesn't match the mission and the vision of the Miss Universe organization. As in, like, it's overlapping and it's conflicting. It makes the organization seem like they don't really know what they want. As in, do you really want to push for the sustainability? Then if yes, you have to walk the walk. It's not just about talking the talk. You need to actually take action. Do you want to have the full glamorous lifestyle, that very celebrity-like lifestyle, and bragging about all these things? Because at the end of the day, the message is getting lost in translation. Anyways, I know that that's a lot to take in, but I do have one more thing that I want to address, and that is the preference that Anne now has when it comes to the Miss Universe national organization. So recently Anne had a press conference where she announced not only the private jet thing, but she also mentioned that her preference is that national competitions of Miss Universe will not award any other crowns during the Miss Universe coronations, and that none of the girls that competed for a Miss Universe title will be sent out to other pageants. Now, this might not seem like a big issue if you have a national competition for Miss Universe in your country. For example, right now I am in the Philippines. Philippines has its own Miss Universe Philippines organization. Every year, the girls compete to be the next Miss Universe Philippines. But there are other cases, other countries, as in South Africa, for example, where a bunch of beautiful girls just join the pageant hoping to get one of the titles. Of course, the Miss Universe title is the biggest title, but there are other titles at stake, such as Supranational, Miss World, and the girls can get something out of it. Now, with Anne's approach, what this means is that, first of all, she doesn't want other crowns around. So if you're competing for Miss Universe, you are going for Miss Universe, all the other crowns out. And second of all, the girls who compete for a Miss Universe title cannot go to these other pageants. Now, this is problematic because from a financial point of view for the national organizations, first of all, let's think of Miss South Africa. They have signed deals and they have contracts with other organizations that they will send representatives. So for example, Miss South Africa cannot send someone to Miss World or Miss Supranational, although they have a signed contract with them that they will be sending a representative. They made the payment, so now what's gonna happen? At the same time, this means that these national organizations will have to hold separate pageants for these other crowns. At the same time, it means more spending on an already tight budget. Like, these companies, y'all think pageants have like a lot of money and funds and stuff? Like, yo, some of these pageants are struggling. Even international pageants, I'm not even gonna talk about the national franchises. So the pageants that are actually making money and banking, I can count them with like one of my hands, and I will still have some fingers available. So I really don't know what is going on. To me, it feels like Miss Universe is a little insecure about other pageants, of course, because this is not going to just affect the national directors and the ones who organize national pageants, but this is also going to affect international pageants that receive candidates directly from these national competitions. For example, a lot of the contestants that go to Miss World, Miss International, Miss Supranational, even Miss Earth are selected within national competitions that award several crowns, including the Miss Universe one. Now, I'm going to say on the brighter side, I think that this approach, this very aggressive approach, might be because of the competition, the tension between Miss Universe and Miss Grand International. I believe that the intention behind Anne's aggressiveness is that no national pageant that is supposed to be under the Miss Universe brand will send a candidate to the Miss Grand organization. Now, to me, that will make sense because they are clear competitors. But anyways, as I told you, I will give you my honest opinion about Anne. Look, I have to look at this thing from a very objective point of view. I do understand the intention behind a lot of the things, trying to make more revenue, trying to make the organization grow, trying to make it a little bit glossier and a little bit more exciting. I appreciate those things because at the end of the day, the reality was that Miss Universe in the previous era was struggling financially. They were not able to deliver what they expected initially or what they promised initially. So there needed to be a change. Now, do I think that Anne's approach is the right approach? I am not completely on board with it because I do believe that you still need to maintain and cherish and appreciate those relationships that you have built over time, those people that you have trust with, and that you know that will support you through thin and thick. You know, I think that as of right now, she's not really prioritizing those relationships. I also think that we need to make sure that we are consistent with the message of Miss Universe. Are you sustainable or are you about the luxury? Because right now it's a little bit confusing. And please, 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 Anne, give room for the ladies to just be themselves and do their job. Like, we love you so much, Auntie Anne. We love you so much. I mean, you are in your own right a trailblazer. You are amazing representation for trans women, for business women. You are an inspiration to so many, myself included. Like, I really love Anne. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you know, I don't like this woman or whatever. Like, I've been defending her on social media ever since it was announced that she is the new Miss Universe owner, but I still want her to occupy that role of an owner from the owner position, you know? When there's time to speak, when there's time for photo shoots, for videos and stuff, allow the girls to do it because that's what they competed for. Next year, they will have to pass on their titles and will still be there. Girl, you still got time, girl. Don't worry. I promise you, it's gonna be alright. Anyways, those were my comments and feedback about the current situation of Miss Universe. Please let me know what do you think about all of it in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, of course. And if you want to watch more Miss Universe content, just watch this video right here. Okay, I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye.